Scorpio Specs. They just talked about the technical jargon of the Xbox Scorpio. And here's what I want to ask you guys right here, right now. How much, seriously guys, knowing what we know right now, how much would you be willing to pay for the Xbox Scorpio? Okay, if they come out at E3 and they say, hey, look, $500. Would you pay $500, knowing what we know right now, for the Xbox Scorpio? My thoughts on the Scorpio, I think it's basically their answer to the PS4 Pro. Obviously, it's more powerful than the PS4 Pro, at least from my understanding. I could be wrong there, but it's essentially an Xbox One, but an elite version of the current Xbox One. And, you know, clearly the Xbox isn't doing all that well in terms of sales when you compare it to the PS4. The PS4 is up here in terms of sales. The Xbox One's right down here. You know what I mean? And the Scorpio was the perfect opportunity for them to come out and say, hey, look, this is why you should buy an Xbox. You know? And I don't know if this was the best way to go about doing that, because this system clearly isn't for everyone. You know, it's like, to the average Joe especially, you have to convince them to go out and buy the Scorpio. And how are you going to convince them to do that when, if they already have an Xbox One, you can play the Scorpio games on your old Xbox One? It does the job, you know? Sure, those games are going to look and perform better on the Scorpio, but most people don't care about stuff like that, you know? Unless you have a keen eye for stuff like that, you probably don't care, you know? So I'm just wondering how this kind of comes into play and how this is really ultimately, at the end of the day, going to help them. I mean, yeah, it's exciting for the people who care about stuff like that, but how many people really care about, you know, having like this elite, super powerful, you know, home entertainment device called the Xbox Scorpio? Yeah! 4K DVR, 12 gigs DDR5 RAM, a custom Jaguar CPU. I mean, how many people, really honestly, care about that stuff? It's like the PS4 Pro. It's like, it just seems sort of like a redundant thing, something that just was not necessary at the end of the day. And I don't know. You got to show me software. Software drives hardware. Software drives hardware. I will say that literally until I am blue in the face. Show me games that were optimized for the Scorpio from the ground up, and then maybe I will get excited. And maybe they will do that. Maybe when E3 rolls around, Phil Spencer will come out and say, hey, look, the Xbox Scorpio, you know the specs, but now let's show you the games. And then maybe they will convince me. But right now, the technical jargon just doesn't excite me all that much. And right now, knowing what we know right now, it just kind of seems redundant, like the PS4 Pro.